No one can argue with the aim of the charity we're about to feature. Its mission is to make Barnsley the best possible place to grow older. Age UK Barnsley is an independent charity, and with a staff of about 50 and 150 volunteers, it focuses on promoting the dignity, well-being and independence of older people who live in the Barnsley Borough.
Well, for us, we work in partnership because we can't do it alone. Obviously, it's not something that one charity can deliver. But we work in partnership with the council, with the NHS, with other third-party sectors. I'm the lead for Age Friendly Barnsley, which is a group that's very specifically, strategically trying to bring together all of the partners to look at infrastructure, to look at transport, to look at care in the community, care in the hospitals. We look at anything to do with, we've got a really good project at the moment that's taking place, which is starting to look at some of our infrastructure in terms of our shops. So the Glassworks, which is the new shopping centre in Barnsley, we're working with them at the moment to try and make each of the premises an age-friendly premise, which means they will have a seat so that an older person who may need to rest actually has somewhere they can take a seat. Our Take a Seat campaign is across the whole of Barnsley, but we're focusing on shopping centres to make sure that if people come in to use the wonderful new marketplace and the wonderful new town centre that we've got, there actually is somewhere they can take a seat, there's somewhere they can go to the toilet. They need to be accessible, they may need to be on ground floor or provided with a lift. And there's little things like with dementia, to make a premises dementia friendly, there's things that people don't realise. So you'll see across all of our centre, we've got light coloured flooring, there's no dark flooring that's added to it, because sometimes some people that suffer with dementia, their condition will make them see dark flooring as a whole, and therefore it can be quite frightening, but they don't know how to, or they're unable to put that into words for you. So you will just see somebody become distracted and frightened and not want to step forward, but not understand why. And that can be one of those things. So we're working across the board to try and make everything about Barnsley a great place to grow old. And there's all the serious stuff, but on top of that, there's also a lot of making sure there's community groups, craft groups, fun groups, opportunities to go on trips, because all of that's important too. If you know, to grow old happily in a community, you need a community feel, you need to bring people together, you need cross-generational working, you need respect, but you need to have something fun to do, because it's not a great place to grow old if you feel like you've got to stay home all day and there's nowhere you can go. We're really lucky. So, our council have won Council of the Year, and they didn't win that, for no reason. That was based on the investment and the work that they've put into the town centre, so making it age-friendly, making it accessible. But in terms of the population itself, Barnsley is experiencing, everywhere is experiencing more people being older. People are living for longer, and therefore that's a natural outcome. But because we don't have a university, we don't attract young people to the area, so our population is actually growing older at a faster rate than other areas in the UK. And because of the ex-mining factor and the things that have made the infrastructure of Barnsley what it is, actually there's some areas of depravity where people are quite deprived. We have a very high percentage of people that are suffering fuel poverty, and the cost of living is affecting everybody here just the same as it's affecting across the board. But actually we were starting in some cases from a much lower situation in the first place, so it's tough. Sometimes it can be helpful to have that area of deprivation, the proof that you can provide that our housing stock tends to not be of the same high standard as perhaps some other areas, city areas, etc. So we can attract some funding because you can evidence that you're an area that's suffering from deprivation across, even the rural areas of Penistone that are considered a little bit posh by some. They have areas of deprivation as well, and actually living in the countryside, probably not being able to be on mains gas means that actually heating their homes with oil can be really expensive. So it's across the board that it can affect them. Sometimes that helps us attract funding, but actually sometimes it makes it really hard because so Age UK Barnsley, what people tend to do is to get confused. They think we're part of Age UK, the national one that you see lots of expensive television adverts for, and we're not. We're a completely separate individual charity. We're just a brand partner of that national group. So they sometimes offer up pots of funding we can bid into, but we have to bid, and we're up against all the other partners that are brand partners as well. So we don't get any funding where from those national campaigns that just comes to us. And so we have to go out there and we have to bid for it. So we're a fiercely local, independent charity, but people do have a tendency to think that we're Age UK National, and therefore people don't tend to give us funding the way that they would perhaps give to other local charities that have a different name.
We rely on volunteers. We've got our shop staff, but those are supplemented by volunteers who do an absolutely fantastic job of keeping the shops going, from running the tills to sorting the goods, steaming and cleaning the clothes. They are the lifeblood of the 3 shops, as well as being the lifeblood of the wider organisation.
We are really, really lucky. It's our 50th anniversary next year. We'll be Age UK Barnsley will be 50, along with at least 3 or 4 members of staff are going to turn 50 next year. And we've got some volunteers. I'm not sure if they're in today, but for example, if you have a look round, we've got one lady that's been volunteering in our day services for over 15 years. Absolutely wonderful, dedicated, committed individual that just keeps giving, and they're brilliant. But we do also get younger people that come in and just want a little bit of work experience. They can be quite hard to get because there's a lot of charities out there and they're all looking for volunteers. And so it's important to look after them. But some areas are easier to get volunteers in than others. It's about looking for the right skills for the right roles that we've got that we need to cover, but also making sure that we reward them and thank them as they absolutely should be thanked, because we couldn't do what we do without volunteers.
Volunteering, it can be coming along for a couple of hours per week, giving up your time and supporting what we do. It can also unlock so many opportunities. We've got people who work here now in senior roles at Age UK Barnsley who started out as volunteers with us. So the skills, the opportunities and the expertise that you develop as a volunteer can also set you in good stead for a professional career.
I'd love to be able to give you a glowing image of how easy it is to catch funding, etc. But it's not an easy world to be in at the moment in terms of being a charity. Cost of living crisis has affected people really badly, and that's affected our ability to be able to deliver because we've got more people needing more help, and that just continues to grow. It's not getting less. In terms of at the moment, we're doing okay. We have to deliver lots of contracts. We have to go for lots of bids. We have to go through some complex reporting processes in order to get that money and to keep that money. But we do have the charity quality mark. We're actually in the process of going through another inspection for that at the moment. Our information and advice services, so we give welfare benefits advice to pension age people. That service is so in demand, particularly because we can do home visits, and that's something that CAB and other partners haven't been able to deliver for a long time because of the level of demand. So we can get funding for those things, and because we're unique in being able to deliver it. But it's really challenging.
Every penny that we raise here at Age UK Barnsley goes towards supporting older people who live in Barnsley. We provide vital services on their behalf, and all the activities that you've seen here today and that we're able to provide right across the organisation. None of that would be possible without the generous support of local people.
We just try to offer the services that people tell us they need. So we're not here to come in and say Barnsley needs this, this, this and this, because we don't know that. We have to ask around and find out what's needed. And that's how I feel that we've been so successful at the moment, because what we're doing is actually saying to people, what do you need? What's missing? Where are the gaps? And we do that form of gap analysis, and we find out what's missing and what people really need. And that's why we introduced a handyman service. That's why we introduced a gardening service. That's why we introduced an affordable shopping service, which fortunately for us, the BNBC actually funded some funds towards the affordable shopping service getting set up, because that's what the community was saying they needed. That's what they were finding most challenging. Transport is always at the top of the list of something that's a struggle. That's why we've got a couple of wheelchair transportation vehicles that we don't hire them out. We just give people lifts, and people can give us a donation if they feel they're able to, as a reward, I guess, for the services that we do. But without those, we weren't able to get people to groups. We got the wheelchair transportation vehicles actually on the back of we provided a 3-month emergency help home from hospital project from March to April this year. And it was a 3-month project where we helped 450 people home from hospital. But actually then we worked with them for 12 weeks past that to ensure they didn't end up back in hospital for any reason. So that the project was about getting them home safely, putting the heating on, cooking them a meal, fetching them medication, which is a massive thing because people were being stuck in hospital waiting 5, 6, 7 hours for their meds to be ready. We could get them home straight away and then we could go and pick their meds up later, that type of thing. But then we worked with them and we brought them to daycare if they needed it for 12 weeks. We might have taken them to a bopper exercise class. We might have got them out in the community. We might have got them to a group, or they might be in our one-to-one service where we go and see them once or twice a week for an hour and just spend time with them and stop them from being lonely. So it was an amazing offer, and that enabled us to purchase a couple of vehicles which are now helping people across Barnsley on every day.
We're really proud to have recently launched our handy person and gardening service. These provide sort of small jobs around the house, putting up pictures, changing light bulbs, right through to the jobs out in the garden. Mowing, weeding, digging, all of the things that perhaps as you're getting older and are less able to get around the house and garden, that you need a little bit of extra support on. So we've found that's been really popular. We've got a number of gardeners now out working. They've got a to-do list as long as your arm, and it's really has taken off. So we're really proud of the service that's able to provide. Lots of older people rightly have always they've spent their lives being extremely proud of their home and garden, but now finding themselves in a bit of difficulty as they're getting on. This service is there to bridge the gap and to provide that support that they might need. We've got loads of ways that people can support us. They could get involved in one of our fundraising events that we put on throughout the year. They can make a cash or cheque donation to us, participate in sponsorship if they're a local business, etc. Support any one of our 3 charity shops at Eldon Street, Wunwell and Cudworth, trying to bag a bargain and raising funds that way. We can never have enough donations of anything. Wherever you've got, wherever goods it is, whether it's nearly new or it's been pre-loved for quite some time, there is always goods that you can donate that will help to support us. It really is a wild west out there, and older people are the ones paying the price for it. Older people who are more vulnerable to scams and fraud are really at risk of losing thousands of pounds or losing their life savings as a result of these crimes that are being committed. What we've found at Age UK Barnsley is we've been doing a lot of work with providers from the Police and Crime Commissioner's Office. We've had scam awareness talks that have been delivered as part of our social inclusion projects. So getting out there in the community, talking to older people about spotting the signs and knowing when they're at risk, knowing when something doesn't quite feel right. I think that's the key message to take away from it all. If something doesn't feel right or if something's too good to be true, then it probably is. And there's absolutely no shame in taking a step back, asking yourself, is this too good to be true? Is this genuine? And taking advice, reporting it to the police or to your bank if you feel that you have been the victim of a scam or fraud. There's absolutely no shame in it. These are really sophisticated and committed criminals who are out there trying to take older people's money. And the scams that they come up with are ever more ingenious. So the advice is to be vigilant, be aware, and never be afraid to seek help.
What's next? Has been courting Mary Jane on Hill Claymore Batter. Has been a courting Mary Jane. Has been a courting Mary Jane on Hill Claymore Batter. On Hill Claymore Batter.